All right, guys, welcome back to the shack. Tonight we're going to be doing a project, and I'm going to be using the newest addition to the laser collection, which is the xTool F1. Normally, I use a lot of the bigger machines because it's bigger projects, but tonight we're going to be doing some smaller things, and it's perfect for this machine. I think it'll benefit me in both placement of the design, clarity of the design, and being able to frame everything out. So I think it's going to be a good fit. So I'm going to walk you through the process that I used to complete this project. And luckily for us, guys, unlike most customers, I know exactly how to do it. So let's get started. All right. All right. So I guess you would never bet or never believe that you want to guess at what the customer does for a living. Anybody? Anybody. He's an engineer, obviously. By the drawing with all of the critical information on there, the guy's an engineer. So, only thing is, the measurements were only provided in the metrics or the standard system, the imperial measurements. So I had to convert that over to metrics because working in xTool software or Lightburn, I need to know the metric numbers. So I had to do a little math. No big deal. But anyway, this is our project sketch and blueprint that we got from the engineer, and this is, I'm guessing, the butter holder, which I'm a little confused which side's supposed to be up. Logic tells me that the taller side would be down and the butter would sit here, but not sure. These, fairly confident, the top goes up. So the illustration was lacking slightly, but I think we're going to be fine. I think as long as we do it on the top, I think we're fine. So we'll move forward with that and go ahead and get this file designed. So I'm going to move you over to XCS, and we're going to be using that to lay these out. So let's move over. All right, guys, so we're going to make use of a couple of extra tools in this design tonight. First thing up, I'm going to take and measure the size of the object that we're going to be engraving, and I'm going to create myself basically a little framing jig for said objects so I can be 100% sure everything is centered. Looks like the round ones are 86 millimeters. Let's go ahead and connect to the F1 because it's showing the P2. So we'll switch over here and connect to the F1 just to keep from messing everything up after we get it designed. So, as I said, I'm going to insert myself a circle, and that is my confirmation over which side is the up or down on the butter board. So, we're going to make this thing 86 millimeter circle. All right, I'm going to place it in the middle of the work area, of course. So apparently, this is the bottom. This is the top. So kind of surprised at that, but hey, we're pushing on. All right, so this is going to be the shape for the circular objects that we have. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I'm going to go ahead and set that to ignore, and I'm going to leave that as a blue line. All right, so next we have to add some text to it, and according to our schematic that we received, we're going to have salt on one and pepper on the other one. All right, so we're going to be doing salt, and they have specified Edwardian script as the font in question. So I'm going to come down here, get some Edwardian script. Now, the text, I got a specified size for salt and pepper of 3/4 of an inch, which is 19.05 millimeters tall. So we're going to click the text there. Up here, it's showing it is 34.3 by 20.96. That's a little on the larger side. I'm going to leave that locked. I don't know why I did that. And I'm going to type in 19.05 to make that text 3/4 of an inch. Then what I want to do is center that in the design. So there we go. Now, I am going to move this over to a different group, and I'm going to make it black and go over here and set it to engrave, just for the sake of making sure it burns correctly. So I've got that set to ignore. This is actually going to set to engrave. I'm going to go over here, user defined material. I believe this is acacia wood, so I'm going to look through here and see if I see any acacia wood. If not, we're going to find something similar and go with that setting. Not seeing any acacia wood. So 3mm basswood is in there. That might be a little soft. Brass, nope. Wood coaster, that might be a good option. Stone coaster, no go. So we'll see what wood coaster looks like. So I'm going to click on the graphic, go to engrave. It's going to be using the blue laser, 100% power at 250 mm per second. Lines per centimeter is 100. I'm going to go ahead and turn that up to 200 because there's some really fine detail in this, just to make sure I don't get lines. And I think that's what we're gonna run. It's better to go too cold than too hot, because I can always just run this twice before I move it if need be. But I think that from what I've seen of this machine so far, that should suffice. So what I'm going to do now is take this layer, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to try to duplicate it. I know I used to could do that. All right, so we'll just do it this way. All right. I thought I used to have a duplicate button there, maybe. Nope, maybe I'm thinking of a different software. So yeah, we'll just copy. All right, go over to Canvas 2, and I'll paste it in here. Now I do have to center it again. All right, double click on the text. Go up here, and I'm going to change this to P. Capital P is the way he's got it written. E-R. And hit OK. Move that to the center. Make sure it's centered. Check the size of my text, and for some reason it put it at 21.48. So we're going to knock that back down to the 19.05 as specified per our drawing. So I've got that one at 19.05. Let me go back and check this other one, make sure it's still at 19.05. This one is still at 19.05, so we're good. All right, so we got those two done. I do kind of want to, instead of using the bars, just to be sure, I'm going to select those, and where did my, how come I didn't get my arrange or align? There we go. I kind of wish we had like a both button, but I'm going to do horizontal align center first, just making sure, and vertical align. See, it did actually move just a fuzz, so that worked out. All right, we'll do the same thing with this one, selecting both of them, align horizontal. Wow, that actually moved quite a lot. All right, and then align vertical. Yeah, see, I don't. That's why I don't trust those little brackets, because I'm pretty sure it showed me that it was centered earlier. But now we've got both those centered. This line should be set to ignore. This line is going to be, well, this text here is going to be set to engrave, and it's going to be doing that 250 at 100% power setting. So we're good on those two. Now I need a third canvas to do the square one. All right, we're going to come up with something for the framing on this, because that's the only thing that concerns me. The text is going to be well within the shape or the size of what we need. It's just going to be my frame that I'm going to have to kind of work through some stuff with. So I'm going to go ahead and push forward and go back to Edwardian. Oh, there it went. Edwardian script. All right. And we're going to go ahead and change that to the black layer. move to black, and I'm going to change that to an engrave. Okay, apparently I've got to go back to the wood coaster on this one. Engrave 100, 250 to 200 just to be consistent. It is wood. There are going to be some discrepancies in the wood, I'm sure, but this will kind of help us out. We're going to hit the frame button, and I'm going to move over there and check it out and see what it does. So it is not framing the entire thing as I wanted because probably because I put it on ignore. So I'm going to click on this one and change it to output and see if that changes the frame. Let's go check and see. So once I took that off of ignore, it actually is framing it. So now I am going to use that frame line to set this up, and what I want to do is just barely miss the object with that frame. All right, so that worked out. Got a good engrave. This is already finished, so I got a little bit of like sap or whatever coming out of it, so I'm gonna have to clean that with a little bit of just like some Windex or something. It's probably not gonna take much to wipe that little bit of stuff off, so let me grab that right quick. All right, so not sure what this was finished with, but yes, it was bleeding out of it as it got heated up. A little bit of Windex. Kind of, you don't want to use anything too abrasive because you could take finish off or stain the material or whatever. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've used Windex on so much wood stuff, I've just gotten really confident with it. It will get that sap off as long as you don't let that stuff sit there for hours. And that turned out good. So we got that one done. Now off to the pepper, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with this big square thing. It's a little bigger than the machine, but we're going to be running 2 passes on all of them just to maintain consistency. Literally, that engrave just took a few seconds, so it's no foul. All right, so off to the pepper, and we're going to take this and change it to output temporarily while we do the frame. Once I get it set in there correctly, then I can take it out of there. All right, so I got it in there, guys, and we're going to stop the framing. I do need to go back in and take this line and set it back to ignore. I'm going to confirm my settings right here, that it is still the way it was. And I'm going to go ahead, since I know I want to run 2 passes, I'm going to go ahead and set that to 2 passes out of the gate. And go ahead and process this one up and get the pepper done. Just confirming, I have salt done and I'm doing pepper. If you do these, always do that and double check, because nothing's worse than having 2 peppers or 2 salts. So salt is done, now we're doing pepper. So here we go. Didn't get as much of the oily residue on this one, so that's good. What I will do though is just take, you can see where we got, this was a clean towel, so I got a little gunk off the other one. I am just going to take and wipe it, just to make sure that there's nothing on there that I can't see that might change the color of the wood later. Just going to wipe it with the dry cloth to make sure. But there's pepper, and pepper is done. And that line was already on there. Not my doings, guys. Not my doing. So salt and pepper is done. Now for the butter. All right, so butter's a little awkward. So that's where I'm gonna have to try to, probably just gonna frame it and measure to make sure I've got the x-axis correct. I think that'll be easy and quick. It's gonna be just as quick to do that as it would be to try to come up with some jig or whatever the case may be. So what I'm gonna do is go back over into the computer and we're gonna set that file up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my line here on to output for this one. It was already on output. And I'm going to go ahead and frame. And I'm going to position the material and do some measuring to get it where I need it. All right, guys. So after some careful measurements and not doing math, I figured out that in order to make this work out, I want to need 31 millimeters of spacing on either side of the word butter. We're good to go on that part. Now back to the software. All right, so going back to the software, I'm going to go ahead and set that to ignore. Make sure that I've got this set correctly. I'm going to be running it 2 passes as we did the other ones. I'm going to stop framing for the moment. So that's the only downside with using this machine, is the work area is a little smaller than what we needed for this project, but we made it work. But I will say, considering the fact that it has the galvo framing capability, which I like from using other galvos, and the work area is not terribly tiny, not real big, but this piece, as you can see, if it was a little smaller, we could have got it under the hood, but I'm not too concerned about that. Like I said, this is not going to take very long, so we do have it kind of hanging out of the hood on both sides. Please don't flame up a lot. That's one thing that you want to be careful with things that are already finished. They can try to flame up on you. When they flame, they're going to create soot and they're going to create debris on the surface. And you don't want to go too hot too fast, because then you have to, you're stuck with the problem of the surface is messed up, and you don't want to go sanding on stuff like this. And like I said, guys, I don't recommend doing jobs like this without doing power and speed tests. But occasionally it comes along that you have to, and so you take a best guess. I always err on the side of too cold for my best guess rather than too hot, because you can always run over it again, but you can't take burn off once you've done it. So, using the wooden coaster setting in xTool, I felt like was a pretty safe bet, and it worked out great. I did have to run it 2 passes, but that could be very well because of the finish or sealant that is on the material. So, appears it's doing a pretty good job. And it'll be done here shortly, because this is the second pass. There we go. Let's check it out. All right, so I did get a little bit of a little bit of that like oily substance out of that one. So we're gonna go over here and grab our rag, and I'm just gonna kind of put me some on the rag there and wipe the surface of the material. You can see I got a little something off of it there, but the good news is it looks much better now. Butter. Much better, guys, much better. But anyway, we got that done. All 3 sets are done. I'll try to take a picture, and I'll try to drop that like right here so you guys can take a look at it and see what it looks like at the end. But that's that. Easy peasy. The one piece, like I said, it was a little more than what the F1 was designed to do, but the engrave was well within the capabilities of the machine. And so, other than that little framing issue that I had of trying to figure out exactly how far I needed to be framed, and I could have taken some painter's tape or something and put painter's tape on there at that 31 millimeter mark. But I'm doing one. If I were doing a bunch of them, maybe I'd jig it or whatever. But with just doing one, it wasn't that big of a deal. So, but we got it done. All right, guys. So another demonstration of the F1. Tiny but effective. And so far, I like the machine for little small jobs like this. I don't get a lot of the smaller jobs in, but when you do, it's definitely a little more convenient than having to put it in a big machine and frame it. The galvo style framing, where it actually shows you the boundary of the design. That's really handy. Once you learn to use that to kind of map out your material, it makes centering things really, really, really easy. So I hope you liked the video. I hope this was helpful. If you have an F1 or looking at getting an F1, maybe one day this video will help you with a project. If it does, feel free to drop me a comment down below letting me know. If you haven't already, guys, go hit that subscribe button. I'm still on that grind trying to get more subscribers to kind of boost the appeal of the channel. So if you don't mind, if you haven't already, if you have, don't hit the button because that'll unsubscribe you. But if you haven't, go down there and hit that button for me. But I'll drop links to the F1 down below for xTool's website. And if you're interested in getting one of those, and if you think this is the machine for you and you're good with the little small projects, then use that link down below and let them know that the Clack Shack helped you make your decision. And that would be cool also. But until next time, guys, be safe and have a good day.